Welcome everybody to another episode of Voices of the Industry. We got Chance Tanner with us today, film producer extraordinaire. And to co-host with me, to rein things in, we got Lucas.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Yeah, so I think it's a great opportunity to kind of branch out a bit. I know we've been bringing on different visual effects artists on here to speak about their experience. So we decided to kind of extend a little bit beyond that and bring on a producer to give us some insight of what it's like working with clients and artists and give us an idea of what all that entails. Um, yeah, man. So I always like to start things off by asking people why they wanted to get into the film industry, man. What is it about film and television that made you think that is something you want to get into?
Oh man, that's kind of a deep story on my end. My mother being in the film industry, but overall, I want to get into it because I just love the art form. Just love creating something from nothing. Just love
Mm,
the visual point of telling a story. That's how I'm a visual learner. I
hmm
love watching anything and just like how you do that. I read books all day long. I can read anything, but as soon as you or Lucas, someone's like, "I mean, this is how you do it." Like, okay, that's how I get it. So the art form of visual storytelling just always drew me in. I'm an avid reader again, so just always having somewhat of like a movie theater picture, just images in my head.
mm.
Just when I read, just picturing these scenes and how these characters, as everything lines up, unfolds on itself. It was like, okay, this is an industry I definitely want to be involved in. And of course, growing up in LA, that's where it is. That's what it deserves to be. Hollywood is like my backyard, my stomping ground. So
I'm a LA native too, man. I think that's something that we felt growing up. It's like we're into movies and TV. That's like a given. Like it's right there. Like why not jump in and see what it is that we can contribute? And I was always the same way, bro. I'd always read something and I would just visualize the whole picture, be playing in my head. And anytime, as a creative, anytime I'm trying to relay something, it's like, let me draw it down real quick. Let me paint you a picture. Let
right,
me show you exactly what it is I'm thinking. And half the time it's like I just know what I want. I don't have to sit there and think, does it look like this or look like that? Like, no, let me show you exactly what it is I'm thinking and drop a quick sketch, have a nice conversation. And no, man, I appreciate that. I don't know if everyone thinks that way too. Because I remember back when I was in high school, I had this teacher, man, who just read and he never visualized what he was reading. And I don't know, half of my classmates were like, well, what's this guy talking about?
yeah, man, it's strange to me. Like, there's some people out there, which, again, everybody learns differently, everybody sees the world
Mm,
differently, and I appreciate everybody's point of view. But I'm always like, wait, what are you talking about? Like you said, draw it, like write it down, do something so I can see what's in your head.
mm.
I mean, that's the fun part. I mean, working with you gentlemen, it's always just like, okay, wait, what are we trying to do here? What's the frame we're trying to fix, and where's the issue? It's like, okay, that's what it is. Annotate it so I can explain this to somebody because now we see it.
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah, and that's gonna be one of my follow-up questions because you mentioned that your mom was involved in the film industry. Like, is this something that you always wanted to do ever since you were a kid growing up?
Me, yeah. So it was weird. My mom was like sideways to the film industry. She created and she was one of the biggest names back in the day when custom flooring was just coming into, the 70s and 80s and new to people's livelihood.
Mm,
But that being said, set designers called all the time to help design sets and to bring her expertise in onto the industry. So I was just on lots, you know what I'm saying?
mm,
Just getting drugged by my mom. Just, I was a little kid, I had to go and just hanging out on set and lots and just seeing the mechanics and the army of people behind the camera and then going home and watching it and saying like, oh, I was there. And of course, Power Rangers, you know what I'm saying? Watching Power Rangers, I was there.
Yeah, man.
Lucas knows this. We've had deep conversations about the Power Rangers. I was on location. I saw him film. I was there being able to talk about it and just as a kid want to be a script writer. So I wrote stories and me and my little brother reenacted stuff. And I was like, okay, this is something I just learning that as a job and it can be a career. I was like, I'm going into that direction.
Morphin times.
Yeah, man. I told Lucas the other day that it's wild that my first grade teacher, Miss Barbarian, she was actually roommates with the Blue Ranger, David Yost. That was wild. So he actually came by, visited us at school. That was pretty dope.
That's dope. That's dope.
Hmm.
That's dope. Oh
Yeah.
man, it trips me out. I didn't know today. I just found out. Lucas, you probably knew this. I know what one of the Red Rangers. He's in jail.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think the second generation Ranger.
Some YouTube short popped up, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, it was past our childhood. I think we were in college by that point, that season. Yeah, and this dude, man, he had a sword collection. He's like, bro, let me show you how the sword works. And he showed him all too well. Now he's in a jail cell.
Let me show you how this
Crazy.
works. Oh, that's funny. Oh man. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
wild,
but
bro.
that was a moment, like especially in the industry, just taking that, I guess, that IP and
Mm.
converting into like a Western format storytelling.
Mm.
That took off like wildfire. Like that that formula for Power Rangers, as you see to this day, it's just like insert some other name on the end of it, and it's still the same show, but it's it has a fan base and it's growing.
They're gonna like try to bring it back again, right? They're gonna try to reboot the same concept. It's always like the first season of Power Rangers they try to keep making a new movie on.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling my buddies like, yo, man, one thing they gotta do that would switch it up and make it more interesting, to your point, is actually go back to the original Japanese version. Check out some of that story because they had their own concept,
Yeah.
their own direction that was wild and crazy, that it was too much for kids in the West to deal with, you know? But I'm like, we're a little more sophisticated now. I think we could handle some of those ideas they were throwing around, which were wild. But I think that would be fun if they like did a little blend, you know, do the same concept with the alien, like Zordon and everything, but if they actually explore some of the facts that there were different tribes that worship each different dinosaur that the Power Rangers represented, and it was like their spirit guide, and it's a whole thing.
No, 100%, man. It does, just on the aspect of storytelling, it does go deeper, whatever version you read. It's funny you say that because so many of, like you and I will see something, or we'll be watching something, or see a trailer, or read something. We're like, what? They're going to remake this? And we'll all throw our popcorn at the screen and be upset. And like, you're ruining my childhood. You look at what's happening, our childhood, we're now in charge. Like, we're the ones making these projects now. And we've always had a dream of making these projects. And if someone's about to give you money, make the project and hopefully you just make it correctly. You know what I'm saying? Without ruining someone else's childhood. But you gotta give it a shot.
Oh, for sure, man. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like every generation should have like they're like Superman or Spider-Man or something like that, you know?
I don't know how you guys feel about this. I completely missed SpongeBob. There's so many fans of SpongeBob, and I'm like, I don't remember when it aired. Kids were talking about it by the time I was 30. I'm like, what is this damn? And I think I worked on one of the pieces. I like helped out in some of the posts. And I was like, I don't even know who this guy is. Like, why is
Mm.
this fascination? It just completely went over my head. Not saying it wasn't funny or good. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I missed it. I missed the boat.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like I think it came out when we were in college,
I think so. Yeah.
and it's funny because a lot of college students liked it because all the subtext. There'll be so
Right.
many adult jokes in there that we would get, and it goes over kids' heads. But no, it's something. Yeah, I never got into it. It just didn't click with me either, like the humor and stuff. But I remember that one of my instructors in school at our institute, Lucas might have had that instructor, Mr. Rogers.
Oh, I knew immediately who you're going to talk about.
And yeah, because we had a class where we had to pitch an animated concept, where we had to get into character and pitch what the show's going to be about. And he told us a story about the guy who pitched SpongeBob. And he got an outfit looking just like SpongeBob. I don't know what he did with his head. I don't know if he put on like a beanie or like some weird hat to illustrate the square head.
Uh,
And yeah, he had the tie, the button-up down shirt, the shorts. And he just popped off. Yeah, and he got full into character. Almost did like the voice spot on, and yeah, he was just off the wall. I don't know if he was jumping on tables or anything, but he was crazy. And yeah, he said that's how he pitched the idea, and it was one of the wildest pitches he ever seen.
Hey, that's smart. That's smart. That's creative as hell. I love hearing stories about good pitches. You always hear the rumors about the elevator pitch, or I think the old school was it Jaws, Lucas? Like that famous the guy walked in there with the book of Jaws and he was just like, make this a movie.
Mm.
And they were like, that's a great idea. And here's a check. It was like, let's go
Yeah.
have scotch or whatever, right?
There's those things that you can't do these days because there's too much tape.
This is metrics involved nowadays. And we
Yeah.
Mm.
get to the turning point of Hollywood, or excuse me, the film industry when, they went from TV executives, studio executives, and TV executives bled into studio executives, and then it just became a metrics game.
Mm.
But back to cool pitches, like I think one of the coolest pitches I heard, and I'm just gonna keep this as a legend because I was in the room, was it David Ayer when he pitched the first Suicide Squad.
Right.
What I heard from, pretty close people around that camp was he got all the custom weapons made, like Deadshot's gauntlet, Harley Quinn's mallet, and put him in a room and invited the studio executives in. And he didn't show up. He was just behind some glass somewhere, just chilling, let them play with all the props for like an hour.
Interesting.
They just had a great time playing with them. Then he walked in. He's like, "Hey, I got a script idea," and they were just like, "Oh, if it involves these props, we're in." It comes back to our childhood. Like, no matter what level of executive you are, you're having fun and you want to have fun. You want to make
Yeah.
something cool.
Oh, 100%. I feel like we're kids in a playground. Like, I think, yeah, Lucas and I can attest to that. We'd be working crazy nights and stuff, but, man, we always kick back, have a few laughs, have some jokes, and we just vibe off each other. And it's fun. It's a lot of hard work that we do, but we have a blast doing it. Wouldn't want to do anything else. And it's like that balance. I think there's that old saying, right? If you do what you love, you never have to work another day in your life.
Yes.
That's what it feels like, for sure.
No, yeah, I agree. I love hearing that. I love hearing any stories, anytime. So, and just hearing from you guys, like we want to keep it fun. I know a lot of people that work hard at certain levels just to make sure that the gig stays as fun as possible throughout the show, because we know it's going to get stressful and crazy. So at the end of the day, no matter what, we're looking at 16-hour days. We're looking at people mad for nothing. We're looking at something that should have been done yesterday that no one knew about. Every show, every show.
For sure, man. Yeah, so if you don't mind, I wanted to get into the role that you have at studios that you work at as a producer. Just a little bit insight in terms of what that entails in terms of your responsibility like on a day to day.
Yeah, man. Just on that topic, in day-to-day terms, or just how it comes to light, just bring it all together.
Yeah, you could start with how it all, bring it to light, start from there.
Okay, no problem. Yeah. In reality, it's kind of like on our end, at least, especially in the post world, on the visual effects world, we're the last caboose on the train, right? We're the last to hear anything, even though we should be mentioned at the very beginning. And a lot
Mm,
of high-end people know that, and we understand that. A lot of the stuff comes together. It's like, hey, here's what we put together. As I always like putting it, is there's a bunch of Lego pieces that get dumped on us, and they're like,
mm,
can you put something together with this? And of course, they have a vision. They're trying to share their vision, but their vision probably changed, and we don't know that it changed. So putting the aspects together, of course, you always start at the very beginning, which is what's the budget? What's the budget? What am I working with? What's my time schedule? Once you map that out and come down, like, okay, here's my budget. Here's how I can spend. Here's how I can be very conservative with it, because this is business. You want to make sure everything's clean, all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed. You look at the timeline, and then you really start reaching out to like, who are the strengths of what needs to get done. And you start putting together your team that can start assembling all these Lego pieces. With that being said, as your point, you also want to put together people with the right personalities and attitudes, because you got to look at it like, okay, are we working a gig that, I know this person loves being off on the weekends, enjoying their family. This person loves being home at a good time to do homework with their kids or just having a nice dinner at the end of the day. So you always look at like the project, timeline, budget, and just can you massage something to make sure people are as comfortable as possible, because at the end of the day, the job's gonna get crazy.
100%.
So that's kind of like the inception of everything. Once you're in the mix, once you're going, that's when the fun kicks in. What needs to be done has to be done, and how to plan for it. And like working with gentlemen like yourself, you guys have such a keen eye, and there's certain things that stand out that can come mountains. You know what I'm saying? Everyone looks at it like a molehill. For me, instance, I know we have a timeline, and I'm going to hammer down, I need certain stuff done by a certain timeline. But at the end of the day, you guys can pinpoint something like, hey, this right here will be a problem. And this right here being a certain frame, certain pixel, maybe a plug-in needed, a certain shot that's just not going to look right or isn't looking right, that might be already in the canon, ready to get launched. And that's when great teams come together with solutions and really just see how we can hit deadlines with all the capabilities we have.
Mm-hmm.
No
Yeah.
doubt. No, that's true, man. Problem solving, that's like a critical thing that we always got to keep in mind. I know Lucas is an expert at calling things out of like, hey, man, this may take more time. This may take a little more resources. And yeah, I think communication is like the number one thing that you got to learn really quickly. And what we do is, not really express your ideas necessarily, but express concerns. It's always good to, wave a yellow, red flag if something arises and know how to relay information for sure.
100%, man. I love that you said that, because I agree. I heard this quote once and I've stolen it and I've used it every opportunity I can. It's communication can save a nation. I always tell people, I don't care, especially when working with me. If you're working with me, I don't care what the news is. I'd rather hear bad news than hear no news. Like, tell me what's going on. Because if we know the issue, we can come up with a solution. There's always going to be a solution. We just got to figure out what the issue is. And especially these hectic times, when we get down to the wire or we get to certain things, communication is pivotal.
Mm,
Over communicate. I sent an email to Lucas I grab my phone, I text him the same thing that's in the email. As I'm walking to your office, I'm calling you to say, did you read the email? Check my text. And it's all the same thing. You know what I'm saying? It's over communication. So we all understand what's the goal here. That needs to happen, of course, within 36 seconds. That's not going to happen in 36 seconds, but you want it.
Yeah, but the priority is driven home, you know? I don't think every fire is dealt like that, but the ones that matter, that's good practice. It needs to be addressed.
As you said, like when there's a fire, the point needs to be driven, it needs to be addressed, and we need all the creative minds to answer. Because in reality, it's not heart surgery. We're making a movie here. So whatever fire, quote unquote, is happening, it's a budgetary restraint problem. We can put out this fire by the end of the day. It's just that everybody stops yelling and panicking. Let's focus here. What do we have? Oh, okay, we got to solve. Just give us a minute.
No doubt. Yeah, man. So I want to dive in more into that experience of, because for Lucas and I, we'll mostly be working with you like a producer or a supervisor who's going to relay the information what needs to get done. But from your angle, you see both sides. You get to work with the artists, but you also get to work with the clients and see what they need done, what they want delivered, and what their schedule's looking like. So if you could get into what that's like, balancing delegating with working with the client and then relaying that to the artist.
Oh, man, that's the funnest part ever. It's working with the client who knows everything and has done this before. It's a balancing act. It's like being on a seesaw. Everybody involved in any project I've ever worked with, we always want to give the client what they want, satisfactory, what I'm saying, on time, under budget. That's the goal here. We all have the same common goal. And that's what's great about this industry. When we're on a project, we have a gig, we know what the goal is. Just like an army, and we're going to achieve this goal. Delegating that conversation between the team and the client's always fun because you have two clients, of course, right? And there's the clients that have done this before and know what's going on, and they might not be experts in the field, but they know a little bit. Okay, what you're telling me, or like what information I'm relaying, doesn't sound crazy. Or if I'm not rebuttaling anything, it's more of like, hey, here's the ask. Tell me if this is achievable. And that's the great kind of communication with clients when it's like, okay, let me take the information of what you want to achieve and let me go circle back with the team and see what we can do. Then, of course, you have the other end of the spectrum where you got some clients who either know what they're asking for or they don't care, or they have no idea what they're asking for. And that's when we have to really put our minds together and be like, okay, if I was this client, what am I really asking for? We get it. They said they wanted a red Smurf, but we know Smurfs are blue. Make a blue Smurf here, because if we give them a red one, they're going to say that's the wrong color. Have you ever seen a red Smurf before? It's like, but your note says.
Right. I got a question. Do you feel maybe that you kind of have to hold the client's hand and kind of show them what they want or tell them what they want?
Again, it's a balancing act. You're 100% correct. When the client comes in, you definitely want to talk to them and be like, okay, here's your ask. Let me rephrase your ask back to you. And if we're both on the same page, then we're going to hold hands together. I want to say I'm holding their hand, they're holding mine. It's like, let's walk down this pathway together and make sure we're going the same direction. Because to your point, Lucas, yes, sometimes you do just have to be the stern bad guy and give them something, especially when it's coming down to the wire. I mean, we're at a documentary right now. Reel's supposed to be locked. We're in color, we're in sound, and they're changing the edit, and they're wondering why we're not going to hit the deadline. So it's one of those scenarios where it's like, well, if you change the edit, the sound's not going to match. It's just not. You know what I'm saying? You got some visual effect shots in here. You're changing the edit, and you're wondering why green screen is in there. And that's where it's kind of like hand holding, where it's like, let me explain to you what we need to do. We want to do as nice, as complete, as professional as possible.
Copy.
Lucas.
It's fun. Trust me, it's fun. I've been on some other ends of some screaming matches, some phone calls, some crazy emails. I love when a crazy emails comes across the desk. Yeah, I love some QC sessions or some reviews. My favorite is when you sit down with a client and you watch the movie or show or scene 18 times and then they get up and leave. And 2 hours later, they have a list of notes that they could have brought up in front of you with a laser pointer. And you're just like, what? Where'd these come from? What happened to the shots? Great.
I guess job security, huh?
I think a lot of times people need to sit down and digest some stuff. But yeah, to your point, there's always that scenario where somebody in the room just always needs something to say. And it's like, you didn't need to say that.
I had an experience with a supervisor one time. We were sitting in dailies, and he was like, "This is an amazing shot. You did incredible work, but this is the first time I'm seeing it. I got to give you a note. I can't let this move on to the client without me tell you to do something on it." And we were all just sitting there, and it was looping for like, I swear it was like a few dozen times, maybe like 20, 30 times. It was just playing a loop. And he was looking like that right there. I need you to fix that leaf. I don't like the way that's swaying in the wind. And we're like,
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love those notes, which at least they were honest. You know what I'm saying? At least they were honest.
Mhm.
That was
Oh
that
yeah.
was good. But I love those notes where it's like, that we know that we're the only ones that's ever gonna see that.
Hmm.
Like no one's gonna see that.
Yeah.
Dude, we had a shot once, and I don't know if it went through that whole process, but the only note on the shot was do something about the guy's neck. And you look at the shot, you'll probably miss it, but if you focus on the guy's neck, it was pulsating. That needed to be taken out or painted out.
Hmm.
It was quite interesting. The little things that get nitpicked. It's true. Sometimes, the shot could be like amazing and just something that is right on the corner that's so small and it's out of place. It'll just grab your attention and the whole shot's ruined.
Exactly, exactly. And to your point, it's funny, especially in the world we work in, with the way visual effects is growing and the amount of technology we have behind it. Like it's just getting better. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. But
Hmm.
there's always that, you guys know when you're working on a shot, there's always that point in time where you come to the uncanny valley where you're like, something's wrong. I don't know what it is. And that's just your brain telling you it's fake because you made it. That's when like internal instincts, fight or flight kicks in. That's a whole nother
Oh,
rabbit hole. But it's always that point where you're like, everybody in the room is like, we've been working on a shot for weeks. It's not gonna get any better. And
Hmm.
then there's like something Mike you would catch or Lucas you would catch, and then the next day everybody's like, "Oh my God, what'd you fix? This is perfect. This is the best shot ever. There's nothing wrong. Approve. Move it along." There's always those weird moments of the uncanny valley, but everybody's knocking their head against the wall, and then voila.
voila. Do you mind kind of breaking down what Uncanny Valley is in case some of the listeners aren't aware of it?
Man, I mean, I have the Webster dictionary in front of me. It's more like when you look at a clown
Sure.
and the clown paints their face and they got that red lipstick and they're happy and the whole facial expression is happy. But that clown's probably not happy.
Damn, that's good.
Everything's telling you something's weird, something's off with that. Like it's not correct. It's like looking at AI now. I don't
Hmm.
give a damn what they tell you. You can look at AI and it gives you a weird, someone didn't even tell you if it's AI shot. Someone can just give you a nice picture or a video clip from SOAR or something, and something in your gut's telling you something's wrong. That's like where Uncanny Valley clicks in. Where you're just like, I don't know if this is a danger to me or not, but some's telling me it's wrong, so it's probably a danger. And that's where it's like, this is fake. This is most likely not real.
The last season of Cobra Kai just came out.
Yeah.
And if you've seen it, you've seen some of the Uncanny Valley that happens in one of the episodes. They bring back Mr. Miyagi,
No,
with the body double, and then eventually, they have shots. I could only guess it's half of the actor, the body double, and then the top is Miyagi's head. It's so unnatural looking.
Hmm.
So if you want to get an idea of what Uncanny Valley is, if you watch Cobra Kai, the last or the newest season, you would get a really good idea of what that is.
but another good example is was it Josh Whedon's Justice League mustache removal? Like,
Yeah.
anybody can just pause a frame. It doesn't matter what frame it is. Just look at that, and you're like, something's wrong here.
Hmm.
Something is wrong. That's Henry Cavill, but something's wrong.
Hmm.
I mean, the whole reason that came about is, he was done shooting and he was doing Mission Impossible, so he had a mustache. So I guess by contract, he couldn't shave his mustache off. So, he was able to shoot his Superman stuff, but with the mustache. So, the only workaround is to like have someone paint it out.
Workaround would have been I wasn't in the studio. I don't want to talk
Well, I mean,
about
I
it.
don't either. It's just what I read, but
Hey, just have him wake up from the grave with a beard.
yeah,
Like it's okay. Like we get it. He hasn't shaven it. He's been in a coma. It's fine.
Hmm.
that's true. That's true, man.
Yeah, they should have just redid those shots. Been less of a headache than what they did, because the problem too is the audience knew. The audience knew going
Mhm.
in that that happened. So they're
Mhm.
looking for it. They're looking for something to be wrong, and they're going to find it.
Great point. Great point, Mike. That's another thing that's going on nowadays. The audience is so keen, and there's so much information going out. We have the internet at our fingertips. Everybody's walking around with a computer in their pocket, so you can look up stuff and hear about reshoots and hear about what's happening. And immediately when it comes up in theaters, you're so focused and zoned in on what can you catch, frame by frame, and just be like, oh, look at that issue right there. which I would argue, who cares? Just enjoy the movie, especially pay $20 to get in.
Mhm.
Just enjoy it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I can't do that, man.
I
If
know
I do
watching
that,
a movie with you is horrible. I thought I was bad, but damn.
yeah, I have to watch it twice. Watch it once, to catch everything I can, and then the second time to enjoy it.
Oh
I'm not gonna
man.
lie, artists to go to a public movie theater because I still love going to the theater and
Mm.
not pull out my laser pointer and just be like, "What's that? What's that over there?" And just start giving notes. Oh man, whoever I'm with at the theater, like especially my wife, she's always just like, "Stop talking." I'm like, "But that's why would they do that? It's wrong. Like clearly that's wrong."
Oh, for sure, man. It was wild because going back to that whole like Cobra Kai situation, my homies from the other podcast I do, State of LA, it was like a group chat. And that was the first thing they were like, Mike, have you seen that shot? Have you seen that scene with Mr. Miyagi? And they were just going off on it. And it's funny because, like one of my buddies, he does like radio and podcasting for a living. And my other buddy does social work. They're not in the industry, but they were all looking at it and talking about, man, that just didn't look right. Like there's so many things about it that just felt wrong. They can't put their finger on it, but they know they didn't like the scene. And of course, one of them found an article talking about all the AI software they were using to do that shot. All the AI and deep fake, and there was no real visual effects artist working on that scene. They just try to run it all through deep fake. I'm like, oh, that's why.
Yeah, see, I would challenge that because one, you're 100% correct. They probably did that at first. That was
Mm,
probably an exception. You know
hmm
what I'm saying? I'm sure there's some artists that they was given because I'm sure whatever was out, I have not seen the season of Cobra Kai, but I'm sure whatever was released was not what initially Deepfake gave them. Somebody touched it. Someone put hands on it. The problem is they probably only had like 72 hours to do something. And once you
hmm
use any of that software, you can't go backwards. It's kind of like this is what you're stuck with.
100%. Yeah, to double back, I do get annoyed, even though I just said it, when people just say it's all it was. No artist worked on it. And artists did work on it, but I've worked at Lola, so I got to see all the different steps and levels, which I can't get into, but I know the process. I know if you want to do a quick turnaround, like you just
Mm-hmm.
mentioned, like a quick 72 hour, I know what that process looks like and what the result is. And if you get the artist time, like 2 weeks or maybe a month, I think it came out that they did work on Luke Skywalker for Mandalorian. They did both. They did the first iteration of that, and then they did the much better, much polished, refined looking one. And it all came down to time.
Yeah.
One was like they were in secret, they couldn't tell anybody, so they had a really quick turnaround, show Luke Skywalker off at the end of one season, and then oh, now he's part of the show. Okay, now we can spend a couple months, and yeah, and the version of Luke Skywalker that looked amazing, that looked incredible when he's standing still, looked completely photoreal. Yeah, there was no deepfake in that.
Hey, shout out to Lola. Lola's a cool company. I like Lola.
Yeah, they're dope.
Lola's dope. Yeah, I respect all the artists that work on these movies, work on these shows. And like you said, given the time, it's amazing what comes out. What you guys do is freaking beautiful.
Yeah, man, Lucas is the ultimate perfectionist.
I try.
I know. We've had some screaming matches.
I just know what I like.
Oh man, there's no sleep with Lucas. It's going to be done right, or nobody's going home.
We probably to the studio years after.
I always would go over like the strikes that happened, the lockdowns and stuff. I feel like people are tired of it. I feel like we gotta move forward, look at where we currently are with things. So I think I was just gonna ask you about that for a little bit, like where we are currently in the industry. Because I feel as if I've been doing a lot of reflecting back, looking at how things were, but we haven't really covered too much on the channel of like where things are right now and where we're at and how we feel about the situation. So if you were open to talk about that.
That's a really good question because we've been hearing about the strikes and the state of the industry for so long. You're right. A lot of people are tired of hearing about it, tired of talking about it, and everybody just wants to speak about something, optimistic. But if you look at it, if you do step back for a moment, it's been a wild ride for the industry. You got to look at everything in whole in the context. You got the strikes, and then you got us, the other unions. They win the negotiation. Remember, we were coming out of COVID. You got to remember, then we had the elections, and then we had wildfires. You know what I'm saying? With everything back to back to back, it's just been a wild 24 for the industry. So, with all that being said, the industry, I feel currently is in a better spot than it's been in a long time. I think
Mm,
the industry has really had a moment to look at where we are with technology, with streaming basically,
Mhm.
because I look at like, and this is no shout at YouTube. I'm not mad at YouTube. I enjoy YouTube. I'm on YouTube every day. What Napster did to the music industry, YouTube kind of did to our industry, to the film industry, film television, right? And we had to adjust. We had to figure it out and not be the old man in the corner just saying, get off my lawn and start telling people don't go to YouTube. We just had to figure it out. And figuring stuff out takes time. Adjusting takes time. You got to bring a new creative idea. You got to raise people up. You got to look at all the mediums we have now. Again, I love going to the theater. I'm a proponent of go to the theater. I love supporting the industry. I love supporting everybody in the industry. Even if I know it's going to be a bad movie, I'm giving you my $25 and buying a popcorn. I want to go watch it because bad is relative. But all that being said, 2025, I think is going to be a good year for the industry. It's taking its time to kick off. There is a lot of pre-talk now. And then for us finally on the post side, it'll circle back around. It's interesting because you know it's growing as you see Nevada's building a studio. New Mexico finished enlarging their studio or put a new studio down. Tyler Perry has his amazing studio in Georgia. Jersey and Netflix are building their studio. Studios are popping up, which means a lot of film is being done. It means a lot more work for people across the industry. Is the content going to get better? Is the storytelling going to get better? What do they say? People are kind of tired of tent poles, people as in fans, tent pole movies. The Marvels, the remakes, the Star Wars, Dunes, whatever.
Mhm.
Godzilla's, huge fan of Godzilla's. Don't stop making them ever. But we need those tent poles. Those tent poles keep all of us active and employed. And those tent poles are the real trickle down effect of if we go support these giant movies, then we can actually fund independent filmmaking. We can actually fund the smaller movies that need a bigger budget. Like here's a boost. So to support all that. The industry has also become such a global market that we're working in tandem with so many different territories.
Mhm.
And that has become so much of a handful because you have to deal with certain territories have certain laws and restrictions, and some people don't like this, some people don't like that. Different versions go out. But that's kind of cool because even if we don't like something here in the States, like we're accustomed to watching something in a certain format or viewing a certain story, and they keep making another one, another one, another one, that's
Mhm.
probably because UK loves it or Japan loves it, Israel loves it. So we're going to keep making these movies, which again keeps all of us hopefully gainfully employed and just keeps us working and doing the things we enjoy, having a good time with it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy right now. I get a lot of people are stressed. Me being one of them, trust me. It's been hard. If we all look in the future, we want to do this. We want to be in this industry. We can keep this industry afloat. This industry can survive and continue to make amazing things.
No doubt, man. Yeah, I think right now it's just a time of adaptation and patience. Lucas is like a monk over there. He's like floating over his chair right now. You can't see it, but I know what's happening.
I believe over his Mini Cooper. He's somewhere in the desert, 2 feet above a Mini Cooper. What do you guys think
Oh.
about the industry? What are you feeling, Mike, right now? Your current vibes?
Yeah, man, I think it's changing. I think it's definitely grown. And I think we did have a necessary step back to kind of reflect and reevaluate the playing field. I know on the artist side of things, everyone's obsessing about, even though we were kind of expressing that the audience knows that they can still spot AI, they can still spot
Mm-hmm.
bad CGI, but still, I think there's a lot of play with, okay, but how far can AI go? Like, what can it really do for us? Those who've experimented with it, we believe it's more of like a brainstorming tool to help you visualize, okay, you're trying to throw ideas together, so I see how things look. All right, this is a tool we can use to help you visualize things quicker, but it still can't replace good writing. It can't replace amazing looking special effects. Well, visual effects, practical. Practical will always be king. My first job was working with somebody who was obsessed. He thought the future was everything's going to be CG. Like CG is cool. Like we love making CG integrated content. You could do some amazing dope things that you couldn't do practically or easily pull off and look convincing or have a nice stylistic flair to it if you do things practical sometimes. You could shoot like dope slow-mo, but if you want to do like the inner workings of a car and everything coming together like a transformer, that has to be CG. How you want to visualize and put that together, it'll be really tricky and difficult to do that practically. But yeah, this guy was obsessed. He thought CG was the future, and we're like, nah, like practical still holds a place. I think CG will always hold a place. I was working with Halon at one point, and they were doing a lot of visualization using the Unreal Engine to
Mm-hmm.
do real time. We were doing like post previs where we were working with a vendor to kind of put together what the rough shots are going to look like using the actual scenes, the actual animation they were doing, but just roughly throwing it together so they can more quickly turn around and show the director how things are progressing. And he was even making big changes to the film as he was seeing how it was coming together. He could better plan, okay, let's do this instead, or that didn't look as cool as I thought it would. Let's switch it up. And yeah, I think there's just a lot of interesting developments, that's forcing us to kind of learn new things and to kind of figure out our place in it. We are worried about the downsizing. We hear still studio closing. We hear certain markets shrinking, like in India, studio closing. I think recently a studio in Germany closed. But I also think that we still have a place, though. I think as much as we hear people putting up their LinkedIn profile stories saying, like, that's it, it's been over a year, almost two, and they're wanting to switch up and do something else to support their families, to put food on the table. Now, I'm still optimistic. I still think we have a place, but I think we also have to reevaluate and see what skills people really need still. You know, we can't just bank on, well, I did this for 5, 10 years. That same job is going to be available. I think you got to reevaluate your skill set and remind that we still have value as artists.
Yeah.
I think some studios think like how much they can shave it down, but then they realized with all the bad writing that was coming out, we got to make sure we have good writers on staff and support them properly because audience members are calling out bad writing. And I think that's what led to like streaming blowing up. I think that's why Netflix and Apple, they're always winning awards for their shows because they have like really good writers on there. And I think Hollywood and big tentpole films, yeah, you can make something that's really fun and wild. Let's send another car into space in the next Fast and Furious. Why not? But
I love all 20 of them.
let's go.
I love it. It's family. We're family.
We're
I
family, bro.
don't care. That keep making them. My favorite moment, and we'll get serious again in a minute, but I'll never forget. It wasn't Fast 10, it was one before that, so Fast 9, whatever that was called.
It was Fast 9.
Okay, thank you for the correct title. It was me and my granddaughter, and we're watching it. And this is the first time she's watching a Fast and Furious movie. And she's like, "What's this about? Don't worry about it. You're gonna figure it out in 30 seconds. Don't worry about it. It's cars and they jump stuff." And I remember, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes into the movie, I can't remember what scene it was. She looks up at me and she goes, "That's impossible. Like, there's something called gravity." And I was like, you know what? I'm glad you understand this because I'm enjoying the hell out of this impossible scene. Just watch the damn movie. But I love that Fast Furious has jumped the shark, and that kids are like, "Yo, they went there, they did that," and it's like, "Yes, they did, yes, they did," and this is what we pay for.
Yeah, yes, sir. And Lucas, I could just imagine the whole time being like, I can't. I can imagine this dude just got up and walked out the theater. He's like, I can't do this anymore.
We all should sit down and watch a movie together and just mic'd up and just hear the reactions that we have and just listen to Lucas ruin. Like, I'll rip apart a movie based off a script. Like, I tell anybody, whatever movie just came out that everybody loves,
Mhm.
give me 20 minutes. Give me 20 minutes, I'll ruin it for you. I'm so bad. I got to season 2 of Game of Thrones and told everybody it's going to end horribly. And I was like, this show is going to end horrific. And they're like, yeah, this is the best show on TV. I was like, bet.
Mm.
Fast forward, I looked at everybody from the PA up. I was like, I told y'all, it was going to end horribly.
I said the same thing because it was like season after season, people were like, it's just still good. It's getting better. I'm like, everything that goes up must come down. There's no way that this show, which is going off of shock value, is going to keep doing it in a way where you're not going to throw your hands up and say, I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't agree with this anymore.
I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna shout out my writers. I like writers. I like every industry.
Mm.
But yeah, you can tell when something's getting put in a position of you wrote yourself into a corner. And it's usually not the writer's fault. It's someone somewhere, let's just say it that way. Somebody somewhere is saying, I need you to do this, even though 2 episodes ago I told you to do that. Now you got to clean that up and make it make sense. And
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't work out all the time.
No, it's tough, man. But I still give the show props. I know House of the Dragon's killing it. Big ups to those writers, that team.
Is it? Is House of Dragon killing it?
It
Is it?
was.
Streamers,
I
is
thought
it?
it was.
Is
I
it?
thought it was.
Has
I heard some
anybody
stuff.
seen the numbers? Has anybody seen the numbers? I'm not on this HBO. I like HBO. What are the streaming numbers?
That is an issue though
Yeah.
with the platforms because I think with like TV, there's like a standard way of tracking how well something's doing and it was put on public record. And with
Hmm.
this old service, it's like, nah, we control the narrative. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
to your point, like Disney Plus, everybody. I had a discussion about streaming shows and that'll be coming out later. We kind of brought it up how Netflix kind of put the wool over everybody's eyes. They were like, yo, man, we making billions. And they're like, no one bothered to ask how much of that is profit. They were just saying we're making gangbusters in terms of cash flow. And then you find out that they kind of break even most of the time because to keep Netflix at the height of what it needs to be, they got to keep making more and more content to keep you subscribed. So
Mhm.
you're not really making a ton of profit. You're just doing enough to make the investors, they get their cut, but then most of it gets reinvested back into the business.
If you look at Netflix, I work with them. Want to work with them small. They're cool. But if you look at it, they're no different than I won't say no different, but look at McDonald's. McDonald's is a real estate company.
Mm,
Netflix owns a lot of real estate. They're a real estate company. Netflix is also a huge distributor. So
mm,
yes, they make some great content under their banner, but a lot of times, Mike, you can make something amazing and distribute it through Netflix, and it will say, say Netflix, and you probably spent 200, 300,000 on it, and they probably licensed it from you for 120,000. Yeah, there we go. So
mm,
it's like, all right, you made something amazing,
mm,
but saw something amazing and they helped you share with the world. Those catch 22 is like, I'm not mad at any streaming service. Everybody got to, run their hustle, run their gambit. The world we're in. I look at the greats. I think it was George Lucas and Spielberg said this late 90s or something. So it was
mm.
just like films are going the way of Broadway. And I hope everybody still goes to the plays. I love seeing a live play. I enjoy it very much. We need support in our industry. We got to go out there and just pay and watch these movies. And there's a lot of independent films that will be in theaters. A lot of independent makers that will four wall a theater and just like eat it, just take that punch to the gut. With all the social media stuff, we can do this just within our community and just go see what we want to see. And they can make their dollars back from the ticket sales. And we don't have to deal with, is that streaming service telling us the true numbers? Are people really watching it? Because I
Mm.
think every stream counts after 30 or 46 seconds.
Yeah.
But if you turn off the movie after 46 seconds, is it considered a good movie? Did you really watch it? I think in the movie theater, if you leave before 15 minutes, you get your money back.
Mm,
So that doesn't count as a ticket sale.
mm. That's true.
It's like, all right. Like I said, no shade to the streamers, no shade to anybody in the industry. Let's make it. Let's all have fun. But if we tell each other to go watch stuff, we pick this industry up where it needs to be.
I'm always an advocate for the consumer voting with their dollar, right? But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but you want to see something do well. I think the worst thing is when I hear people say like, "Oh, I thought that was going to do great. It looked cool," but then they never saw it, they never supported it, and they wonder why it didn't come back around. I think that's what some people kind of feel like with a show not getting renewed. People are busy. People got used to the convenience of I could just watch it later on streaming, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
watch it live. They don't watch it when it comes out. And yeah, and that's important. Showing up each and every time for things that you want to see more of is important.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with it. I agree with it. I like it.
I'm gonna pick on Luke because you've been too quiet, man. What's going on over there?
Yeah, he did
I'm,
get kind of.
I'm listening, analyzing,
Mm,
all valid points. I like the streaming services. You know what? I ended up getting YouTube. I think it was Red at the time, solely for the purpose of watching Cobra Kai. And now it's done. So I don't know if I'm going to continue with it. So that's my 2 cents on that. But yeah, just listening, man. It's interesting, like how you guys are saying the industry's going and where we're at right now. It's exciting times. What's over the horizon? There's still a lot of uncertainty. And on a personal level, there's been difficult seas to navigate, but, still holding on and just waiting to see what's in store.
Lucas, I definitely hear you, man. I agree. It's definitely been rough waters out here. I like to remind people, especially, us below the line people, we've all been here before, not just us in general,
mm,
personally, the industry. And as you mentioned earlier with AI, it was a good shakeup. People did freak out and panic. Nothing can replace us. Nothing can replace humanity. The way you guys can see an issue and fix an issue and solve an issue. And no matter how better the technology gets, either being AI or just technology in a whole, it cannot replicate what we do. We cannot replicate the heart, the soul, the vision. Remember, it can only make what we give it. So we have to make something cool for it to copy down the line. It has to collect all the ones and zeros of something you already made. And at the end of the day, we like working with each other. yeah, anybody can say, oh, we're going to save costs on this movie and AI it real quick or use that software. But like for me, for example, I want to bring everybody on. I like working with the crew. I like calling people and saying, hey, are you available? I like saying we have an issue. Can you help solve it? Just like going to the grocery store. I hate self checkout. Yeah, you might catch me every once in a while just running in and out self checkout, but I can't stand it. I'd rather deal with somebody. I don't like the ATM. I'd rather go inside the bank. So a lot of us, the state industry with the technology, embrace it, learn it, utilize it. It can help you out. In reality, at the end of the day, it's probably going to hurt me more than y'all because y'all can really make a shot better. It can just help me with my spreadsheet, manage an email, and that's going to just be like, all right, well, Chance doesn't need to belong here anymore. We don't need a producer because AI can produce this email for us real quick. But yeah, man, don't be afraid of it. Yeah, rough waters. Again, the art's not going anywhere. Just keep plugging along. Just get better at the crafts.
No, no doubt, man. I think one of the questions I was trying to ask, but I'm still kind of on the fence about how relevant it is right now. We're all waiting to see what happens, shake things up. We're all anticipating that the work's going to come back and we'll go back to a steady pace. But just random, some young person hit me up who wanted to break into the industry and they
Mm-hmm.
were looking for advice and things to keep in mind. And I've been trying to improve his skill set, tell him things like he's got to work on and reviewing his work and trying to help him build a portfolio up and stuff. But at the same time, he's feeling that pinch. Like we said, California's it's wild right now. We're all trying to bounce back in more ways than one. So it's going to take a minute. It's going to take time. I know he's telling me how he's stressed out trying to just find like any job just to
Yeah.
pay rent and stay afloat. So that was one thing I was wondering. I guess just in general, like if you had some advice for someone who wants to break in the industry and maybe even do what you do, what advice you might have for them?
The advice I always try to give with anybody want to break in the industry, especially if you haven't been in the industry before. If you're brand new, fish out of water, fresh out the gate, PA, do whatever you can in every department. Even if you have a goal in mind, let's say you want to be on the visual effects department, you got to get past the gate. You have to get your foot in the door and just do that in the costume department, do that in the accounting department, do wherever you can. Because once you get in, you really start seeing the mechanics of how this industry operates. And just because where you start might not be where you end up. Like me, I wanted to be a writer. I 100% wanted to be a writer till I got on set and realized who's who. And then when I looked around, I was like, yo, the writer's not even sitting here. The writer sold his script and he boogied. All right, I don't want to be a writer because I want to be here.
Mm.
Get in there and figure it out. And the more connections you make, the more everyone sees your hard work. This industry is not what you know, it's who you know. But they want to know you and know they can trust you and they can rely on you. And they know your work ethic and they know you're not a liar. They know you're a good person. So it's like get in the door and you can always maneuver your way back to the department you want to be in, but you have to get
Mm.
in first. So if you keep knocking on all the doors of the post side and post has no openings available yet, hey, let me go try over here on the grip side. You will work your way. You will figure out, you will learn the ins and outs. You will talk to the right people. Just being a good person and just, I want to be part of this industry. This industry is not just what you see as like, I want to produce. Okay, well, why would I hire you as a producer if you never produced anything? Like, why? And producer means like at the end of the day, it's like, yo, you want to produce? Here's a budget. Manage this. I didn't come to movie school to learn how to manage a calculator. Yes, you did. For me, movies are made on spreadsheets. An Excel is a movie to me. I can put together an entire movie with camera roll name. Like that's shot names right there. Boom. That's the movie to me. Learn Excel. That's what you want to do. Then learn Excel. So you got to get in there, get beat up, and understand how the industry really operates and where you actually fit. Because you might like something over here. You might get in there and be like, oh, snap, makeup department, hair is fun. I want to be over here. I want to do commercials and I want to do the fun stuff. So that's why I was trying to tell people that have ambitions getting in the industry.
No, it's dope, man.
Yeah, that's amazing. I do want to say something. A lot of what you said, I never asked. There was always like this mystique-ness to, what you do, Chance. I imagine you're always rolling with the punches, taking hits for us artists and softening the blows. It seems like, in essence, what you're doing, it seems more real than what we do because you're dealing with real problems like budget and time. To us as the artists, I guess the only thing that crosses our mind is time, how much we're going to dedicate on this. And a lot of times, that's it. That's as far as it goes. We're dealing on the artistic level, but I think time is the only thing we actually deal with. In your case, you're dealing with people, and thanks for shedding all this light into your world.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for inviting me on this. Appreciate you guys. One, of course, I'm always say thank you for that crazy roller coaster of a movie we worked on together. But I'm glad y'all don't hate me for doing this now. Like I'm having a good one. I hope to do another one, a follow up one. It's been fun. Like you said, Lucas, the more we share and talk about, then we gotta just make it seem like it's not a secret. You know, it's not a secret. And you always hear the crazy stories or the horrific stories, and it's like that's not everybody's account of what happens. You know what I'm saying? In the
Mm,
industry. At the end of the day, reality. This is a job. We all have a job. And it's no different
mm,
than someone works at a factory or somebody works at the grocery or someone works at a bank. It's like we got a job and we just
mm.
do our job. We work hard at a job.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, man, I think that's a good place to leave it, man. Appreciate you coming on, devoting your time to, give some insight from where you're coming from, talk about your experience. Lucas holding it down as always, being the mysterious person he always is. No one knows what it looks like. He's just a floating head as far as people can know, man.
I'm gonna let it count the bag. Lucas is the oldest, youngest person you'll ever see.
I second that.
That's true, man. He is our Yoda, bro. That's a fact.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, "Oh snap! Lucas is 400 years old, but does not look it at all."
Hey, I tell people stories all the time and they just don't believe it. It all comes down to, how you deliver, like delivery and, people either they accept it or you leave them baffled. And
Hmm.
when they're baffled, it's the best part because you can talk about anything.
Oh man, I second that. I concur.
Really quick to go to
Hmm.
that. I have three brothers. So one of my brothers, he's younger than me and he has two kids. So when I'd go visit his house, he would tell his kids when they were a little younger, they're like, oh, that's your grandpa. So for a while, instead of being their uncle, I was their grandpa. And, whatever. I mean, it's all for fun. And one time I show up to the house and then he tells his kids, and I'm sitting on the couch and he goes, hey, you guys see Lucas's boots right there? They look at it and then he goes, you see that dirt? That's from World War II. He fought at Normandy.
Yeah.
Like he said it on the spot. I thought it was the funniest thing. And the
Mhm.
kids started laughing. But, there's always jokes.
I'm gonna believe him. Go put it out there. I believe him.
It might be true. It might not be true.
Never know. What was that Brad Pitt movie when he aged backwards?
Benjamin Button.
Yep, there you
Hmm.
go. We got one.
Yeah, that's Lucas.
I'm kind of in the middle right now. If we want to talk about how it's going, I think I'm in the middle.
All right, let's leave on a good note real quick. That was a great ending, but films are we excited for? Be honest. We all talk about buying tickets. Consumer controls everything.
Oh
So,
man.
well, what do you want to see that's coming out?
Mission Impossible is coming out soon, right? Or do that one.
You gave us your one. Come on, Mike. What you got?
All right. Took my answer. All right, I'm going to go with just because I want to see the potential for something cool in it. I'm going to go with Fantastic Four. That's what I'm going to go with. There's a lot of promise in what they can deliver, so I want to pay and see if they come through.
Okay, it's a good
Okay,
choice.
I'll give you that. I ain't mad at that. All
Hmm.
right, all right. I'm going with the accountant too. It's a
Oh
sequel.
man, I saw
Oh
the
man,
trailer for that. Yeah.
that's the
I
best
like
one.
I like the first one. And this the trailer for the Accountant 2, I was just like, because at first I was like, oh, okay, Batman's gonna fight Punisher. They're like, we're brothers. I was like, oh, got me. Take my money. Let's do it.
And the Punisher is coming back officially, so I'm hyped for that. So that's true. Accounted two. I gotta admit, yeah, out of all the movie trailers, like the first one, I'm like, that's it. I don't gotta see anything else. You take my money. I want to see this movie.
I'll piggyback you, man. Fantastic Four surprised me. I thought the trailer wasn't gonna be that good. I was like, you know what? I like it. I like it.
Yeah, it's just a concept of like they try and do like a 1960s kind of futuristic type look to the city maybe and to the technology. I want to see that. I want to see the retro futuristic. I want to see how creative they got with it for the movie.
Want me to spoil it for you?
Do it.
Do it.
All right, just producer brain. I don't know anything about anybody. I ain't read nothing. It's called First Steps because, of course, they got the kids in it, right? So they're going to
Right.
introduce the world to Franklin and I can't remember Val. I think Val is his daughter's name. Basically, they're going to fast forward, not an origin story. Galactus comes. Reed's been trying to figure out a way to get to another dimension, another Earth for a while. And the Galactus Herald basically says Galactus can help you get to another place. Reed and Galactus team up. Misunderstood monster movie. Franklin Richard, we all know he's like Omega level mutant. He's going to be the key to this whole thing the whole time. Reed's like, oh my God, let's get to another Earth. Boom, they transport to the world we all know with the current Marvel universe. Galactus is going to want to devour the Earth. Reed's like, oh my God, I can't let you do that. You tricked me. Boom, they fight. Roll credits.
I'm gonna wait for that quote. I'm gonna see if it's true.
I bet you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I've been following all like the rumors and speculation. I don't report on any of it. We like to come forward and talk about like what's more tangible, but yeah, I kind of lines up with a lot of speculation. But
Okay, I haven't read anything. I just looked at it and I was like, okay, let's see. If I was a producer, how would I make this movie sell? Got it.
yeah, a lot of people want to see the kids in it because that's a way to make it fresh, to separate it from what everything that Fox did. Yeah, I think it came out a while ago that they're supposed to be from our world and somehow they get flung into another parallel universe and then trying to come back. So yeah, Galactus. Yeah, I want to see how fun they get with Galactus. I want to see if it's really just dude with the helmet or if he's got some really cool like cybernetic designs to him. I want to see how creative they get. I want to see Silver Surfer. They're going to hold off on showing us that for a while. I know it's a conversation about it not being the classic Silver Surfer, but hey, they do some cool things with her design. Like if she's got like liquid metal, long flowing hair, that would be cool. I want to see what they do with the Silver Surfer design.
You know what they dropped the ball on? The Silver Surfer, because they could have gotten Keanu Reeves.
Ah, well, Keanu, man, I keep hearing he's going to come do something with Marvel.
Yeah, I hear the same. I hear the same.
I don't know what, but because I think people wanted Ghost Rider for a long time, I think they got someone else for that.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what Keanu would do because they keep asking him, "Yo, you going to come back from the John Wick?" He's like, "My knees, bro." It's like my heart says yes, but my mind's like, "No, you can't do
Well,
it."
to your point, a lot of fans, I have this argument all the time. A lot of fans realize actors are us. They have lives and they age out of roles.
Mhm.
So I'm not mad at John Wick. I get it. I get it. I ain't mad at Keanu. But to your point with Fantastic Four and the kids, they got to introduce the kids because that current cast can't do another 10 years of movies of Fantastic Four, but the kids can.
Yeah, I think that's the wildest thing. Everyone's like, "Yo, what's this wild ride they're going to take us into, going into and coming out of Secret Wars?" And that's gonna be a whole conversation I know Lucas and I will have with some of the other guys in the channel.
And don't forget about Chance.
I was about to say, man, since Chances stays down, I mean, we definitely got to do that experiment. I mean, we haven't done a thing where we sit and watch a film together. And yeah, I've been avoiding that with Lucas because I know he's going to nitpick and making comments. It's because the thing with me is like, I'm always noting things like in my head. And if the movie's bad, I'm just stuck on my notes. If I'm enjoying it, I'm like, I got my notes. I see problem areas, but you know what? I'm having fun. I could ignore those notes. But Lucas, I know he's going to be like, no, Mike, I made a point about this. We're going to talk about it.
I'm like you, Mike. I can sit there and just be like, oh, I'm gonna rip this movie apart, but I enjoyed it, so who cares?
Yeah.
Good times. Lucas will sit there and sorry, Lucas. You
Yeah.
you just be like, oh, this movie sucks. I'm like, yo, we're 10 minutes in. No, I saw that. That character was floating. They weren't connected to the ground. Dude, it was a 3 frame shot. No, this movie sucks. It's over.
It's because you got to look at the arc, like when they get punched or they're flying or,
Oh my God.
firework, like there's an arc. When they travel in a horizontal line, it kills me, man. A perfect example is Spider-Man 1 when he's fighting the Green Goblin. He gets punched in the chest. He just literally flies across horizontally, hitting a bunch of display cases or whatever. And there's no arc.
I'll argue, Lucas, have you ever been punched in the chest by the Green Goblin?
Well, I wouldn't fly.
You don't know.
His fist would
Oh,
shatter in pieces.
oh
Thanks.
my God, this guy. Oh my goodness. All right. I guess that's where we have to leave it.
Yeah,
Luke.
yeah, that's good. Mic drop.
Oh man. All right, bye. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to check the next one and until next time.